Good.
Allez, bonjour. Monague Dijikaz. Jeff Monague, Nishin Kanvo. My name is Monague, which is Wolf, and my Indian Act name is Jeff Monague. I'm from the Monague First Nation, where I'm a councillor, and I've been in the past, I've also been a chief. And I'm running for council because of that experience that I've had over the years, and also because of the fact that I get a chance to do that again. The government has had some real tight controls over who can be in, who can run for council in our communities, and these are the kinds of things that I hope we need to change. Unfortunately, we had to go through a judicial process in order for that to happen, so it qualifies me because of the fact that I'm living away from the community right now for employment reasons. I'm qualified now to run for council at home, and so last year was the first, or last term was the first time that I was able to come back after a lot of years away from home. What we need to think about in the future is what our governance will look like going into the future. We still basically are a group of people that are trained to become good bureaucrats based on the idea of the Government of Canada, the Aboriginal Affairs Department, or Indian Affairs as we always called them, but recently they changed their name. And now they've changed their name to try to encompass everybody. And what we have to do is redefine ourselves, go back to figuring out who we were, what our governance system looked like. And we had the clan system, and I think that is still pretty much alive in our communities, and I think we need to revive that because it was one of the truest democracies in all of the world, and I think we need to bring it back to what it was. We have a transportation problem, of course, living on an island. It's been a long-standing problem. The government only pays a certain amount of money for us to have a certain type of transportation, and that's a ferry boat. And over the years, they've only managed to provide us with a certain ferry that would transport our people back and forth, depending on our numbers. And they always fail to really realize that we're a growing community and our transportation needs are much different. In order for us to become self-sufficient, we also need to be able to have that link to the mainland in a much better way, in a stronger way, so that we can create jobs in our community. We need to do that by changing the way our transportation system is now. We are currently working on a new and a larger ferry, but in the future I think we really do need to look at a stronger, perhaps a fixed link to the mainland. In the area of education, this council has asked the community what we needed to do in terms of education. We were funding students 3 to 1. What I mean is the government funds our students to a certain level, but we also put our own monies that are derived from our own source revenues, the casino funds. And what we've done is we've funded that 3 to 1, and we're going to continue to do that because I believe that what we're doing is we're paying down our future, and that what we're doing is creating a much better educated community that can properly lead us into the future. In terms of economic development, we need to strengthen our economic development system, create an economic development department that is not just economic development in name only, but also to put some money into that as well by ourselves so that we can create proper economic development opportunities for our community, ones that are going to be self-sustaining and for over a long term, ones that are going to be creating jobs, because it's much needed in our community. We have a high unemployment rate, and that's what we need to address. Housing infrastructure has always been a problem, constant. We have a total membership of just a little over 1,900 people right now, if they were all to move back right now, we wouldn't be able to properly house everyone, which is why most people live away from the community, because it's impossible for us to be able to provide proper housing, especially with a subsidy that hasn't changed in about 30 years that the government provides. So we need to build more houses, probably by using our own monies again and creating a revolving loan fund so that we can properly house those people that really need it. The government continues to decide who is a member in our community, and I think it's time that we decided who is a member in our community in terms of, and I think we need to go beyond blood quantum. That's the idea that the government had, because blood quantum is also tied to money in their sense. They'd like to reduce the number of Native people because every time you add to the list, it creates a burden on them, or so they say. But I think it's time for us to decide who is a member in our community in whatever way that we decide. We have, in the area of justice and lawmaking, we need to be able to be stronger and to be able to create a proper justice system in our community that deals with infractions. We need to bring back possibly the idea of a restorative justice practice that gives us the ability to hold our own courts, to keep our people out of jail, because essentially our people are law-abiding, but we tend to be fished into the justice system right now, and that's reflected in the number of people, the high number of our First Nations people that are incarcerated all the way throughout Canada. So what we need to do is create our own, recreate our own justice system. In the past, there was no need for a policing system in our society, and it was all based on the teachings, and when people had infractions, they were brought back to the community elders, and they were taught to learn the ways of the society again to become a good person. Culture and language is important for us to get back to who we were. I grew up speaking Anishinaabe, and I see a future right now where if we don't do something about it today, we're not going to have very many speakers in the next 10, 20 years. There will be no one who will be able to be even a fluent listener. We will not have any fluent speakers. And the way things have changed is that it used to be that Anishinaabe was a traditional oral history. That has changed because of the impact of residential schools and the outlawing of our language and culture. So what we need to do now is we have an established writing system, so we need to create literacy in our own language within our own people, and that will restore that culture and language. In terms of the health of our communities, there are many, many things that befall us as Native people, and a lot of it historic. And we have a lot of social ills within our community that need to be addressed, because we're continuing to sweep them under the rug and pretend that they're not there, they're not existent, but every once in a while they come up and hit us in the face. We have high incidences of young people who are taking their own lives, and we need to be able to restore our pride and our sense of who we are. We need to be able to redefine who we are as a people. When you have that sense of who you are, then you have a stronger sense of self and a stronger reason for being here. In closing, I'd just like to say that we, as a people, have come a long way in our history. We were the first to ever be placed on reserve system, in the reserve system in Canada. We were the guinea pigs, and we were the guinea pigs for the residential school system, and we suffered a lot as a result of all of that. We lost a lot of our culture, a lot of our ways, and we're just trying to reconnect to all of that. And when we finally do that, that's when we will move forward. We have to go back and pick up what we once were. Abdek Skabiman, Jidap Namangyo, Minwa. so that we can move forward. Miigwech.